first of all, I just want to thank the mothers of Beth and Brady for popping them out. And second, I would like to thank Mr. Oswald and Mr. Fish for getting the job done. And lastly, everyone for being here and making this a wonderful day. If you allow me to speak for a couple more minutes, I can take you guys back in time to some meetings in Brady's life. First meetings in Brady's life. It was second grade, first day of school, first time I moved in Carlinville. And I walk up the stairs, go to Mrs. Anderson's classroom. There, I realize that I have to put my backpack and my coat away. And so I go into the coat closet, and I turn in there, and there Brady's standing with two other guys. And their first reaction, well, before I get to that, let me explain to you what I was wearing. I was in second grade. I had the awesome jean shorts. I had a white collar popped, okay? I had 4-inch spikes on the top of my head with the sides shaved, okay? So I was a kid trying to be cool in the 90s, if that makes sense. And so I walk in, I put my backpack up, I put my coat up, and next thing I know, Brady, my best friend, he's making fun of me and teasing me, if that makes sense. And I guess you could say it wasn't love at first sight. It took a couple weeks before we became best friends, and then years later we became inseparable. If we go ahead a couple years in Brady's lifetime, we'll see the first time he met Beth. We were at a church event. We went there to paint the walls of our church. Cheaper, you know how that goes. And while there, the first time he met her, she was randomly brought by Jolene. And they're really weird, shy, and it just didn't really seem to click off. Later on, we started painting, having wars, throwing paint on each other, and you saw the comfortableness between them grow a little more. And so it was the end of the event, and we had no ride home, and we needed a ride home, so we asked Beth, and luckily she gave us a ride home. There, we started driving to my house, and he started going through some of her stuff and finding journals and books, and started teasing her about it. I don't know what it is with you and making fun of people first times you meet them, but you know, it's kind of awkward. And so, with that being said, she dropped us off, and we felt like she hated us, or I felt like she would hate us. The only difference between that day that he met Beth and the day he met me is what he said afterwards. So he made fun of both of us, but we grew closer that day. And the one thing he said after the day he met Beth was that I think I can marry her. Everyone knows the feeling that Beth and Brady had that day. That feeling when you're a little kid and you do that thing for the first time and you realize that that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Or that's what I'm going to have for the rest of my life. You know, like, for instance, your first baseball game. First time you get out on the field, catch a ground ball, catch a pop fly, right? Hit a triple. You realize that I'm going to be there. This is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Or maybe it's the first time you ever worked on a farm or interacted with an animal or got a puppy or something along those lines, and you realize that this is something I want. This is something I want to do for the rest of my life. Or even the first time you went to dance class, you know I'm going to be dancing forever. And for the gamers out there, the first video game you played, you knew this was going to be a part of my life. You loved it. You knew that this right here is going to be a part of me forever. Brady and I have been best friends for 14 years, and he knows he's never going to get rid of me. Beth and Brady have been together for almost 5 years, and they both know since the first time they met that this day was coming. With that being said, I'd like you all to raise your glasses for Beth and Brady. Thank you.